of being oppressed or the history of being oppressed. So I've had a brother who I was talking to on my Facebook page also. And one thing he was, talking about was he doesn't care about the fact that he wants reparations, basically. He wants reparations. He wants compensation, because I'm just trying to tie in the American history with the Black history thing. So he's dealing with Black history right now. He wants reparations, right? And compensations for slavery and what our people went through and woo, right? So I had another brother who posted that even so-called Black people owned white slaves. They had white slaves too, but they also enslaved their own people too, other Black people, right? So what I was asking him was, who do you want reparations from? Who do you want it from? Like, because you do know some of your own people helped enslave your own people, and some of your own people enslaved us themselves. So are you only looking for, because I feel like a lot of us like to play this victim role. We like to hold on to this victim role, and we can't uprise because we gotta hold on to the slavery story, and we gotta hold on to what oppressed us. And what I was trying to show the brother is this: who you want the reparations from? Who you want the compensation from? You don't want it from your ancestors who enslaved your other ancestors. Like, you don't want it from them. You just want it from the white man, right? You don't. I said, isn't that kind of what we do today? Isn't that kind of the same thing we do today? We hurt each other in our communities. We do each other dirty, and we sweep it under the rug. We don't want to talk about that. But as soon as the white man come into our neighborhood and do the same thing that we're already doing to each other, then we want to cry victim. Oh, and we need, and this is racist, and we need, this is, how y'all treated our ancestors and stuff, but you don't want to talk about how your own people treated your ancestors too. What do you think about this, brother? Like, what do you think about this?
I think, people need to gain perspective for themselves and assess actual events before making assumptions. Mm-hmm. Falsely condemning someone, right, of a crime, you know what I'm saying, that is wrong, and there's penalties for that. Now, in regards to the subject matter of reparations specifically, first and foremost, you have to be able to prove that you are owed reparations. That's an actual claim. You have to have a effective claim. It's not something that you can just assume because, you hear some random quote unquote Black people talking about it. The same quote unquote Black people talking about, they haven't gotten it for themselves.
Okay, so let me give you some specifics on what he was saying. Okay. He said we were robbed of inventions. This is what he said. The point is, Native Black people on this land were robbed of their inventions. They were enslaved. They were tortured and murdered. Yet we're the only people who were never compensated for such oppressions. It's old. He said Asians were compensated for their role in war. Holocaust victims were compensated. $5 Indians were compensated. And he said, I can keep going. So this was the point he was trying to make. When it comes to, he feels like he don't care about what our people did to us. He just cares about what the white man did to us. And these were the reasons that he gave.
Yeah, I understand his perspective. I definitely understand that. But at the same time, though, his perspective can also be met by various breeds of foreigners that also haven't been compensated.
And that was my point. Tony. I was trying to explain to him, listen, brother, we're not the only people who went through this. We're not the only people that went through slavery. we're not the only people, you know what I'm saying, who went through torture and murder. I said, people, this was going on before us. I said, slavery was big business all around the world. And then you kind of have to think about this too. If we're going to say we were the majority people, the original people all around the world, all over this planet, wouldn't it make sense that it was some of our own people that enslaved us?
I mean, see. Well, I disagree with that statement there. All right. I don't agree with the indigenous to the world
Okay.
Theories.
Okay.
Now specifically, certainly, I'm gonna give you an example of what I'm aware of here in the Americas, right?
Okay.
In some nations, cultures, their customs, their laws, their traditions, etc., right? Let's say me and you, right?
Okay.
Let's say me and you are of the same nation, or we are of neighboring nations, right? And let's say me and you was to get into a conflict, and you was to kill me, right?
Right.
It's customary for you to your energy now would be pretty much put in place to cover my loss. The resources, all the resources that I would have provided for my nation, well, now you inherited that. You now have to provide those resources for my people now.
Okay.
Since you killed me. And so in regards to quote unquote slavery, I mean, to this day in countries like China, right? And this is ancient history here.
Yes.
They have literal generational debt where generations of people have to work off that debt, and it is pure slave labor. Pure.
Yeah. You're right.
Whereas X amount of generations from now, yeah, your debt will be paid to whoever they owe that debt to. So I mean, with slavery, right? People need to understand the dynamics of it. Now, when we consider kidnapping, okay, because that's what was going on here in the Americas. I have text I can show you about that, right? Where foreigners came here, they have a history of kidnapping each other. They was doing that forever. The Moors was kidnapping Europeans, Europeans kidnapping Moors. They was trading each other. You got the Persians doing it. You got every breed of foreigner across the world. They was doing that in their world. They
still doing it today.
Absolutely,
still doing it today.
The human trafficking
still going on today.
Human trafficking, yes, absolutely. Yes. People could go on YouTube right now and pull up videos of Africans as slaves right now.
I just watched it yesterday. I was just watching documentaries on it yesterday. That's what I'm telling him. Like, this is going on. Go ahead, brother.
But yeah, so here in America, our claim is different because here in America, right, there was no just war. Okay, you initially had the papal bull, the Inter Terra of 1493, which was rescinded in 1537, where it says blatantly, right, that it is forbidden to enslave the Indians, deprive them of their property, etc. Let me see if I can show that text. Because our claims are different. We are in a very unique position than other people in the world. Very unique position. And this is why you have foreigners that want to insert themselves into our American identity. We have a status of freedom in which no one else in the world has. Because as I mentioned a moment ago, a lot of foreigners, they come from a culture which upholds slavery.
Gotcha.
And I'm talking about, as I said a moment ago, generational slavery. It's not just oh yeah, you're just going to work for me 7 years or 13 years or what have you. No, this is like long-term enslavement. Hold on, I'm coming to the text. Almost there. Give me one moment. Oh, this is the page extract stuff. Is this the right one? Yes, here we are. This is the right one. Okay. So yeah, we have this text right here. This is the papal bull Sublimis Deus of 1537. The said Indians and all other people who may later be discovered by Christians are by no means to be deprived of their liberty or the possession of their property, even though they be outside the faith of Jesus Christ, and that they may and should freely and legitimately enjoy their liberty and the possession of their property, nor should they be in any way enslaved. Should the contrary happen, it shall be made null. It shall be null and have no effect. But then this is the dynamics of that, right? Let me see. We have another text here. Here it is. So as I mentioned, these are extracts here, right? I've done it in a hidden colored series I recently did. I showed all of this text here in detail, but we're going to go right here to this middle section where it says exclusive access to the Indians of the interior, lamenting that the Sertao that they call Patos is open to every Moor, Jew, black and white, tall and short, who wishes to go there to attack and conquer and capture the Indians to later sell them where and to whom they please. Were it not for the Jesus, they argue, the Indians will be left in the mouth of the devil and in the claws of the whites. Okay? So this is in regards to events taking place in the early to mid 1600s now. This is a whole 100 years after the issuing of the papal bull Sublimis Deus, which rescinded the Inter Caetera. So the situation is this: when we have people that do not understand the actual dynamics of their own ancestry, like I can't this person who asked you this question, I can't say that they don't know their own old tradition pertaining to their people, or that they may have or may not have records pertaining to their people being enslaved. But the situation is, you did have Indians here in North America alone that was sending their boys to foreigners to be apprentices.
Facts.
As a result of that, that makes their daughter or son an indentured servant. Indentured servant, that's synonymous with slave.
Wow.
But that's why genealogy is so important when you're dealing with this, because to tie back into what you and Tony was saying, you have to prove it. And if you don't do genealogy, how do you know what side your family actually did play?
Yes.
You can be a descendant of someone that was actually selling and sending Indians. And that's not saying if that's what your family did 200 years ago, that's who you are today. No. Everybody got the right to choose their own path. But we got to be cautious on what we claim and make sure whatever it is we're going to claim that we can prove it without a shadow of a doubt.
No, that's one of the things I was trying to tell, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't know what your people did. You get what I'm saying? If you haven't dug into your family, you don't know. You might have slave owners. You might have, your people might have had a whole plantation of people. You just don't know. You know what I'm saying? You're going off of what was told to you. Your ancestors, who do you want the reparations from? And then you have to be able to attach yourself to that. You have to
I can use my own personal genealogy. That's like me trying to make that claim. But my genealogy shows me that half of my family, the Bunches and the Collins, they were fair-skinned enough. They were able to go towards the north and pass as white.
Wow.
So if you these cases, some of y'all be suing yourself.